Hey everyone, it's week 5 of Brad Carroll's Game Day. I'm Brad Carroll, executive sports editor of the Bristol Press and the Britain Herald. He's Anthony Della, a man who loves the upset. Unfortunately, those underdogs can't return the favor. If you follow the show each week, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If Anthony picks an upset, go with the opposite. It's a guarantee. Last week, it was South Carolina that was victimized by the Anthony Hex.
I think South Carolina was victimized by the Steve Spurrier Hex, throwing a freshman quarterback in there in crunch time. Not a good decision, but I deserve to take my lumps. I haven't been good with my upset picks, but I'm going to turn it around.
Anthony did pull another winning week against the spread, going 5-2. He matched that record in straight-up picks as well. Those are some pretty impressive numbers.
What did I tell you last week? I got my mojo going.
Oh, we're all scared. Joining Anthony with a 5-2 record against the spread last week was the third member of our team, Craig Carroll. Craig's big gamble, Arkansas over Alabama, however, didn't come through, so I'm sure he'll have something to say about that game and give out this week's picks at some point in the show.
I'll give him credit. He had a good week last week, maybe starting to live up to his big ego.
For the 4th straight week to open the season, I ended with a winning week. I went 4-3 against the spread and 6-1 straight up. For the season, I'm 18-9-1 against the spread and 26-2 straight up. And by the way, I'm perfect in my upset picks this year. I thought I'd throw that out there for you.
Credit for that, but your numbers dipped a little last week. I don't know, maybe you're losing it.
They have dipped, I will admit. You know, with 3 winning weeks, we should have nothing to complain about, but of course, that will never happen. I spoke last week about Boise State needing to make a big statement with a victory over Oregon State. A 13-point win later, and I've jumped off the bandwagon. Boise State did nothing to impress. Watching the game, I realized there was no way they would beat Alabama or even Arkansas. So forget about the Broncos winning a BCS title. It's not going to happen.
You may be right on that, but I think we're too fixated on how many points Boise State wins by. They still won against a good team, and I still think they could, given a one-game scenario, compete with any of these great teams out there. Unfortunately, one team who can't compete with anyone right now, it seems, is Texas. They got housed at home by UCLA. Their offense is anemic. I'm shocked at that one. I just don't know how you lose that game, but they did.
They did. You know what? Let's kick things off right now. 7 games, 7 picks. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Number 7 Oklahoma is a 4-point favorite against those Texas Longhorns Saturday afternoon on ABC. Oklahoma has struggled this season as 3 of its 4 wins have been decided by 7 points or less. Texas, on the other hand, has been terrible on offense and could have trouble scoring against the Sooners. But this is a huge rivalry, which means anything can and will happen.
Yeah, it's a really big rivalry game, and Oklahoma is kind of hard to figure out. Their most demonstrative win of the season has come against arguably their best opponent, Florida State. They almost blew their game against Cincinnati last week, but Texas did blow their game. They blew up offensively in a huge loss to UCLA. Question marks on both sides, but Oklahoma, I think, has less question marks. I think they'll pull this one out 26-20.
Rivalry games are always tricky to figure out. No matter how good or bad a team is, if the rivalry is legit, the game should be competitive. The key is the Oklahoma defense against the Texas offense. If Texas struggles once again, this will be an easy win for the Sooners. But this one will be close. Oklahoma wins 24-17. Next up is number 19 Michigan traveling to Indiana in the Big Ten opener. Indiana is 3-0 on the season, but the defense has been gashed for an average of 177 yards per game on the ground. That is great news for the Wolverines, who have run the ball at will this season. Quarterback Denard Robinson leads the nation with 688 yards on the ground. He should have another big day today at Indiana.
Yeah, he should be back for this game. He should be healthy. Even if he's anywhere close to 100%, he should have a big game against that defense, as you mentioned. They're not a good defense at all. Indiana, yeah, they're 3-0, but they haven't played anyone. They're going to get a rude awakening when they start their Big Ten schedule this week. Michigan easy, 31-17.
Yeah, this one shouldn't be too hard to read. Denard Robinson will take another step towards the top of the Heisman list with a big game against Indiana, both running and throwing the ball. Michigan wins it going away, 33-14. 2 teams struggling on offense face off in an SEC matchup Saturday afternoon on CBS. Tennessee travels to number 12 LSU as a 15.5-point underdog. This game has a similar feel to last week's LSU-West Virginia matchup, where the Tigers held on for a 6-point win as 9-point favorites.
You hit the nail on the head when you talked about 2 teams with struggling offenses. LSU in particular, they struggled again last week against West Virginia, but their defense is playing pretty well. The Tigers still have some things to figure out, but the Volunteers have even more things to figure out. On the road, it's still LSU. I'm not a believer in this team, but they'll win this game 21-10.
LSU and Tennessee shouldn't put out many points on the scoreboard, which always translates into taking the points, especially when it covers 2 touchdowns. So LSU wins the game, but the Vols keep it close enough. LSU 27, Tennessee 14. Next on the schedule is a huge Pac-10. Oh,
Here
wow.
comes the music interrupting that.
Weren't expecting that right there, but I guess I should be by now.
Yeah, he's back again.
Craig Carroll's statement, I'm going to read it right now. I was ready to come in and bash one or both of these guys, but they had good weeks. So instead, I'll be turning the bashing to former Heisman frontrunner Ryan Mallett, who with one throw threw away his chances for the Heisman, an SEC title, and a national title. Mallett talked all week about being mature and composed this year, but in the end, he played like a scared kid and ruined any chance his team had of pulling off the upset.
A little harsh, but Mallett definitely blew it in crunch time there.
He definitely has no shot at the Heisman, in my opinion. On to my picks. Iowa giving 7, LSU giving 15.5, USC giving 10, Oklahoma giving 4, Indiana getting 11, Alabama giving 8, and my game of the week, number 9 Stanford at number 4 Oregon. This game is going to be all about offense, as both teams have looked very impressive thus far, but Oregon has looked better than anyone else in the nation, and they are at home. The pick, Oregon 45, Stanford 32.
He's right, this game is going to be all about offense. 2 teams that know how to score. Oregon's averaging over 50 points a game, Stanford averaging nearly 50 points a game. But the way this game will be decided is on defense. It's going to be about the offense. That's what we're going to be talking about going into this game and even afterwards. But the question is, which defense is going to be able to come up with stops in the red zone or turnovers? Neither defense will shut down the other one, but I think the Ducks come up with a few more big plays on defense to pull this one out, 40-37.
Yeah, this game has all the makings of an instant classic Saturday night on ABC. If Oregon is impressive, they should jump up to number 3 in the rankings. Stanford could jump into the top 5 with an upset victory as well. It's obviously a huge game for both teams. The Ducks average almost 58 points per game, and while they won't reach that number against Stanford, they will win the game. Oregon 38, Stanford 28. Here's a big game in the Big Ten. Number 22 Penn State is a 7-point underdog at number 17 Iowa. Penn State hasn't won in Iowa since 1999, and with freshman quarterback in Rob Bolden starting for the Lions, that streak may live on after this game is decided.
Yeah, I think that streak may live on. I think the key to this game is going to be which defense are we talking about more at the end of the game. Whatever defense comes up with more big plays, if we're talking about Penn State going in there, because their defense is their strong suit. They've struggled a little bit on offense. If we're talking about Penn State's defense at the end of this, then they're going to pull off the upset. But I don't think so. Iowa had a tough loss a couple weeks ago at Arizona. They got back on track against a not good opponent in Ball State. I think they're going to win this game and sort of reignite the passion that the fans have for their team. A little disappointment there after that Arizona loss. Iowa 16, Penn State 13.
Starting a freshman quarterback in what will be a raucous atmosphere will not be kind to Penn State here. Iowa averages 36 points a game, and while the Hawkeyes won't reach that number, they will win the game. Iowa 28, Penn State 17. Next up is a primetime matchup featuring Washington traveling to number 18 Southern Cal as 10-point underdogs. Washington upset the Trojan last year, so there will be a revenge factor for USC in this game.
There will be a revenge factor. Washington won that game last year. No one expected it. They were at home, but now they're on the road this year. It's not going to be a repeat performance. USC is going to win this game easily. Washington has struggled, even with dynamic quarterback Jake Locker. He's kind of struggled, falling off that Heisman hype that he had at the beginning of the year. But USC, easy, 40-20.
Yeah, Washington will be ready to play, but Southern Cal is just too good. Southern Cal wins it 34-20. Finally, we have number 7 Florida traveling to number 1 Alabama for a game under the lights on CBS. Alabama was impressive last week with its come-from-behind victory over Arkansas. This week, they're an 8-point favorite against the Gators, who are a shell of the team that challenged for seemingly every national title the past half-decade. The offense has been known more for fumbling shotgun snaps than touchdowns. That can't be a good sign going into this huge matchup.
No, it can't be a good sign. I actually think Alabama had more of a challenge last week playing at Arkansas. They proved why they're a championship team, and pulling that game out obviously had some help from Ryan Mallett. Florida got on track with a big win at Kentucky, but Kentucky's not that good. They're just not going to go into Alabama and win the game. They've got a good team, they've got a good coach, but Alabama's got a great team and a great coach. They'll win this game 24-20, continue their march toward another maybe back-to-back championship.
Yeah, even though Alabama struggled to put Arkansas away last week, I do not see a repeat of that here. the Tide, and Heisman winner Mark Ingram will run away with this game. Alabama 33, Florida 17. With that, we wrap up another edition of Brad Carroll's Game Day. Be sure to check out the print version every Saturday in the pages of the Bristol Press and New Britain Herald, on my blog at bradcarrollgameday.blogspot.com, and don't forget College Game Day Rewind exclusively on my blog. For Anthony, I'm Brad. We'll see you next week.